Hey guys, Account Second here, and this is the info video for Season 25 of the Pokemon NASCAR series. It'll sure be one heck of a season because it is the 25th season of the league, and I've made a logo especially for this season, for this once-in-a-lifetime occasion. It's going to be an exciting, incredible, landmark season. Now let's show you all the drivers that are going to be running here in Season 25. We'll start with the single car team, then go from 2-car teams to 3 to 4, and then we'll reveal the races that'll make up the schedule. So here we go. Here are the drivers for Season 25. We start off with the 1-car team, Go Fast Racing. They have a new driver this season. It is the 32 of Leia Walker. She was running with the 19 of Joe Gibbs last season, and now she moves over to the 32 for her own team, Go Fast, and also represents TA2 Racing. Pichu and Luke Walker will also be competing, but one of them will also have a different ride as well. Leia Walker joins Go Fast in the 32. Next up, we have the Wood Brothers and their 1-car number 21 Motorcraft Ford. That'll be run by Morgan McPherson. McPherson was a 2-time winner last season. He ran with Front Row Motorsports, and now he moves over to the single-car Wood Brothers team in the legendary 21 Motorcraft Ford machine. We'll see if McPherson can repeat his success at his rookie season last season if he can win another race. Next up, we have Furniture Row Racing, and they're moving over to Toyotas this season, and they're in the number 78 with Bass Pro Shops, one of 4 cars that'll run Bass Pro Shops this season, and it'll be driven by Aiden Milliken, one of the many rookies making his or her debut in Season 25 in the Pokemon NASCAR series. We'll see how this rookie performs with Furniture Row's Bass Pro Shops 78. Next up, it is Tommy Baldwin Racing, and they have combined both their sponsorships into 1 car this season with Golden Corral and Nico. And they have a new driver in the number 7. It is Armando Shazazz, a former Pokemon NASCAR champion and a former All-Star race winner, by the way. So it'll be interesting to see Shazazz out of hiatus, and he's hoping that he can rebound and possibly become a 2-time champion this season. Next up, we have the merged team of Circle Sport and Levine Family Racing. I'm going to try to say Levine before I said Levine. I'm going to try to say Levine because I think that is the more proper pronunciation of the team name. But anyway, the 95, they'll only have 1 full-time car they'll focus on this season, and that'll be driven by Daniel Voiles. He's retaining his ride from last season. He actually had a race win last season, so he's not switching teams. Next up, we have JTG Daughtry Racing and their number 47 machine. They will be running Kroger on the front of their car. Their main sponsor will be Kroger this season, and they'll be running with rookie Jay Jefferson on the wheel. Jefferson comes from the NASCAR Pokemon Pro Series, and now he's transferring over to Pokemon NASCAR, and he'll make his debut in the 47 Scotts Kroger Chevrolet. Next up, we have Germain Racing. In the number 13, they have a new paint scheme this season, Geico Military. But the driver is a Pokemon NASCAR legend coming out of retirement for this season, because it is the 25th season after all. Dillon Young will be running the 13 Geico Military Chevy for Germain Racing, hoping to get at least 1 more win in his long and historic career in the Pokemon NASCAR series. Now it is on to the multi-car teams. First up, the 2-car teams with Premium Motorsports. The number 55 will be kept by Pichu. He has a new sponsorship on his wheel. It's called World's Record Holding Bass Company. I think that's what it's called. And the 98 RTIC will be driven by fellow friend Luke Walker. So they'll be teammates for TA2 Racing and Premium Motorsports again this season. Next up, it's BK Racing, and they'll both be running Schulter systems in their cars. They'll both run the same sponsor. The number 23 will be driven by Ben Braley. think Braley was in the 47, if I could recall. No, wait, 20, I think he was in with Joe Gibbs last season. And Jerry Guerrero also comes out of hiatus, and he's back in the 83 machine with Ben Braley as his teammate for BK Racing. It'll be fun to see these two cars go at it. Next up, it is Richard Petty Motorsports, and they'll be keeping 2 rides this season. 43, the legendary 43, will be driven by rookie Igor Barreto, and the number 44, Zachary Fitzwater, will return in his old ride from his last season. He did pretty successful last season, making it to the final 5, so he's hoping for another chance at redemption with the same team, and a new teammate nevertheless, so it'll be fun to see Richard Petty ride again. Next up, we have H Scout Motorsports. By the way, they have expanded to a 2-car full-time team. The 46 was part-time last season, but now it'll be full-time because the 46 won 2 races last season, and the Motorsports group has shut down their 30 car for this season. Josh Crash will return in the 15, and Jacob Lawlor, Pokemon NASCAR legend, will move over to the 46 in a full-time ride this time. Next up, it is Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates, or just Chip Ganassi Racing because Sabates is not actually involved in NASCAR operations, but that was the best logo I could find. But anyway, the number 1 will be driven by Gabryel Wanderley. Wanderley moves to a new team in the number 1, and Jarrod Lewis also moves over to Chip Ganassi in the number 42, Glad to Give Chevrolet. He was in Team Penske last season. Speaking of which, here are Team Penske's 2 drivers for season 25, 2 and 22. No new paint schemes, they just keep their good old same fashioned paint schemes. But 2 different drivers are taking the wheels of Penske. The number 2 Miller Lite Dodge Ford, will be driven by Jonny Gardner, and the number 22 Pennzoil Ford will be driven by Matthew Mdev. Mdev keeps his team but just changes number. On now to the 3-car teams. Now we have Roush Fenway Racing. The number 6 will be driven by DJ Kirker, keeping his old ride from last season. And so is Nikki Maxwell, also returning in the 16. And I think James Richardson was in the 17 last season as well. So 2 of them have the same sponsor, and all 3 of them keep their rides with Roush Fenway from last season. Talk about teamwork. Next up, it is Front Row Motorsports, and they are returning to a 3-car team from last season with a couple new drivers, except for one. The 34 will be driven by John Andrews from Richard Petty over to Front Row. The 35 will be driven by Cody Smart, and the 38 will be driven by another Pokemon NASCAR legend, Avi Saks. 38 will run Florida Lottery, the other 2 will keep their same schemes. And the last of the 3-car teams, we have Richard Childress Racing. The number 3 for Bass Pro Shops, the second of the Bass Pro Shops cars, will be driven by Nathan Hudson. The 27 will be driven by rookie Joshua Ciculli. I hope I pronounced that name right. And the 31, Sam Rogers, will return to his old ride he had last season in the Caterpillar Chevrolet. Now it's on to the big 4-car teams, and there's only 3 this season. Stewart-Haas Racing has the number 4 of Cody Hagen, the number 10 of Elijah Gordon, the number 14 of Alex Ragau, and the number 41 of Ryan Kasey. Only Gordon and Kasey have kept their rides from last season, and Gordon and Ragau also are the 4th and final cars running Bass Pro Shops this season. I'm sure they'll have a big presence this season, definitely. Now we get to Hedrick Motorsports. The number 5 will be driven by Alex Hawkins. The number 24 will be driven by John Arnott. The 48 will be driven by O'Neal Balvin. And the 88 will be driven by Amari Stoudemire Jr. Arnott and Stoudemire keep their rides from last season. And Balvin moves from the 5 over to the 48. And Hawkins is a new addition for Hedrick Motorsports this season. And last but not least, we have Joe Gibbs Racing. We have the 11 of Emanuel Magnus, formerly Emanuel Magnuson, now Emanuel Magnus. The number 18 defending champion, Kermicah Jazzin, number 19, rookie Tord Larsson, and the number 20, driven by Paul Barbour. That's it for all the teams and drivers this season. Now let's show you the complete schedule for Season 25 of the Pokemon NASCAR Series. We start off, as always, with the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, as always. And then Race 2 heads over to the Pray for Orlando 500 at Orlando International Speedway, one of two tracks that make right turns in the schedule. And then it's the Pennsylvania 400 from Blue Ridge Speedway. It's a carbon copy of Michigan, only faster. Then it's the 5-Hour Energy 301 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Then it's followed by a new track this season, Dover International Speedway, the AAA 400 Drive for Autism. I'm hoping that the Monster Mile will finally be a good race here in the series. Then it's the Slovenia 500 from Coca-Cola Super Speedway, the 25th running of the race in Coca-Cola. Then Richmond International Raceway hosts the Toyota Owners 400. Then it's another short track coming up, the Goodies Fast Relief 500 from Martinsville Speedway. Then the next three races are in the Carolinas. First off, at the Rock, North Carolina Speedway, the Federated Auto Parts 400. Then it's followed by the Great Spectacle, the Coca-Cola 600, now a regular season race, over at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then it's followed by the Bojangles Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina, the Lady in Black. Then we head over to the Midwest, starting with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 400 at Chicagoland Speedway. And then it's followed by the Busch Silver Celebration 250 from Gateway Motorsports Park. Couldn't find a logo for that Busch Silver race, so I had to make one on my own. And then we finally have another return in Kentucky for the Quaker State 400. I'm hoping Kentucky finally becomes good for once when we get there. Then it's the SpongeBob SquarePants 400 from Kansas Speedway. So we have Ninja Turtles and SpongeBob 400 in the same schedule. It'll be epic. Then it's the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Then we start going west for the NASCAR Series, for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway, followed by the Can-Am 500 from Phoenix International Raceway, Twin-X. Then it's followed by the Cobalt 400 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And then it all wraps up. The last race before the All-Star race will be the Auto Club 400 from Auto Club Speedway in California. Only one race in California this season. And then it's followed by the All-Star Weekend from Eldora Speedway. It moves over to become an All-Star venue. And then we start World Tour 25 with Calder Park in Australia for the Good Sam 500. Then we head over to the United Kingdom for the Food City 500 at Rockingham, UK, the other track that is known as Rockingham, but that's in the United Kingdom. Then it's the Sparked Energy 300 from Raceway Venray in the Netherlands. As you notice, we're going to start off World Tour 25 with ovals, and then the road courses will follow later. The last of the ovals is the Veltins Arena in Germany, the Bass Pro Shops NRA Night Race, and then the road courses begin. We start with the Cheez-It 355 from Spa-Francorchamps, and then we go over to the Zippo 200 from Brno Circuit in the Czech Republic, and then it's followed by the Drive Sober 200 from Bikerneki Circuit in Latvia. And then after that, we start off the first of three races in Canada. First off at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, the CTMP 180 fired up by Johnsonville. Then it's the Napa Auto Parts 200. I apologize for the little dot there. I'm not sure why that's present. But the Napa Auto Parts 200 from Montreal, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and then it's Gardner Denver 200 from 349, and then finally the Toyota Seimar 350. That'll be a dual weekend with two races in Suzuka Circuit in Japan. Then the chase begins with the Super Snack 500 in New Jersey, followed by the All-State 400 at the Brickyard from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then race 3, a new chase race this season, the Ford EcoBoost 400 from Homestead, Miami, and then it's followed by Talladega's the penultimate race of the season at Talladega, the Alabama 500, And all wraps up with a 25th championship race, with 5 chasers compete for a title from @ZenJoltis. And that's your schedule for Season 25 of the Pokemon NASCAR Series. Of course, there is a zero tolerance, no spoiler policy. If you spoil just once, you give away the winner just once, you will be released from your ride for the rest of the season, and may not be allowed to sign up again for the series. So keep that in mind. And that's pretty much all you need to know. But anyway, that's it from the info video. This is the account second here. Good luck to everybody, and I'll see you guys when Season 25 begins.